Mike has been probably the most important thing that has happened to me as a head coach. Without him, we don't make the playoffs last year, without a doubt.
Michael Bibby, born May 13th, 1978. Today's feature is a guy that was one of the best floor generals of his generation, and from 03 to 06, one of the best point guards in the league. Owner of one of the best basketball names in history, Mike Bibby had all-star potential, but every year, for some reason, he'd always come up short in the ultra-competitive 2000s. In that decade, the NBA had probably the best guard play in history, as almost every team had an exciting point guard carving out Hall of Fame careers. If you named the top point guards of that era, Mike Bibby would find it hard to even crack top 15. Not even mentioning latecomers like Derrick Rose, Curry, Westbrook, and that group. That's not to imply Mike wasn't a good player, far from it. It truly speaks to the golden era of the 2000s for how top-level point guards were. There's nothing it didn't have. Pure point guards? How about Chris Paul or Steve Nash? Deron Williams or Jason Kidd if you're not satisfied. Two already Hall of Famers, and Chris Paul is a shoo-in for first ballot. Flashy play-style point guards that filled it up on the offensive end. Let's start with Allen Iverson, Baron Davis, Steve Francis, Gilbert Arenas, Stephon Marbury. White chocolate, anyone? No? Okay, how about Tony Parker, Chauncey Billups, Gary Payton? A little on Mike Bibby's early career side, but from 2000 to 2003 of Bibby's career, Payton occupied an all-star spot he could have taken. My point is, for point guard loving fans of basketball, it got no better than the late 90s to mid 2000s. I didn't even mention the off guards also occupying spots Michael could have filled in individual awards that would have made his career stand out a lot more than it did with the talent he had. I remember watching Bibby in those days, and he stood out as a young kid to me, not for his handles or athleticism or defense, but no matter the situation, Bibby always seemed the most coolest under pressure on the floor. I rarely saw him turn the ball over, and almost never would you see another guard strip the ball from him, as the phrase "no wasted dribbles" or "no hot dogging" coaches said to us in those days could have came with a photo of Mike Bibby next to it. He got to where he needed and was efficient at running any offense. He was also an absolute sniper back then. He'd shoot high 30s and even low to mid 40s, attempting almost 5 to 6 threes a game some seasons. His 2002 Conference Finals Game 5 one dribble pull-up, I still remember touching only net as he sunk the game winner to put the Kings up 3-2 in the series against the two-time defending champion Lakers en route to a three-peat. The ultra-light, ball head with a headband guard should have made at least one All-Star. Here's why that didn't happen, and 3 stunts in his growth that overshadowed his career. Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man. Take a minute to like, subscribe, and comment on who I should do next. You can also send a super thanks by clicking the button below. Enjoy the video. Mike Bibby was a 6'1" point guard born in New Jersey and is the son of NBA champion and 3-time NCAA national champion Henry Bibby. He was a star for Shadow Mountain High School in Arizona and helped them to their first ever state championship, earning a scholarship from his dream school and Point Guard U back in those days. He was Mr. Basketball his senior year, 1996, first team Parade All-American, and McDonald's All-American. He entered Arizona as the point guard and became the team's third leading scorer at 13.5 points a game and 5.2 assists, shooting 39% from 3, attempting 6 a game. He was the Pac-10 Freshman of the Year, also winning a national championship and making the Final Four team. His sophomore year, he was even better on a team that had 5 total future NBA players, becoming a conference first-teamer and the Conference Player of the Year. The Vancouver Grizzlies took him second overall in 1998, before 3 Hall of Famers and 5 All-Stars. Bibby never became an All-Star. Stunt number 1, Jam-Packed Era. As alluded to earlier, the first growth stunt for Mike Bibby as an NBA player was not that he wasn't a solid to good player. He was just caught in an era that had the most talent at his position arguably ever. Entering in the 98-99 season and enjoying a productive career all the way to 08-09, Bibby faced top point guard and off-guard competition nightly and battled those same guys for all-star spots and all-NBA teams each year. All guys named earlier that had just a little more something than Mike Bibby that X'd him out of contention for tops in the league in his prime. Jason Kidd and Kobe Bryant held the guard spots at Bibby's first eligible All-Star game in 2000, as there was a lockout in 1999. Following year by year, Kobe and Kidd again. Steve Francis and Bryant 3 straight years, Tracy McGrady Kobe 2005, Nash McGrady Kobe 2006, Tracy Kobe 2007. Moving east after being traded to Atlanta, Jason Kidd, Dwayne Wade, and Allen Iverson held those spots. In 2005 and 6, Bibby made his best cases for the selection, but Tony Parker, a rising star the league was falling in love with, occupied the point guard spot off the bench when Bibby easily could have been that year's selection in 06. If being solid all around instead of one noticeably more elite trait like extreme speed, handle, and quickness of AI, or elite league-leading passing like Nash or Kidd, defense and leadership like Peyton, scoring and superstar traits like Francis or McGrady, Bibby would have been a perennial all-star, or just in a less jam-packed era. Mike Bibby would be amazing in the league today. Stunt number 2, unfortunate losing situations. Another growth stunt for Mike Bibby came because of the teams he was on that weren't having the success the other guards had, and he didn't do enough to help affect winning with his play. In 2007, Bibby was supposed to be traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers to team up with a young LeBron James, and that fell through. The Cavaliers went to the NBA Finals that year, as Bibby could have given Cleveland a much-needed second veteran that's been in big games in the playoffs to help them at least not be swept by the Spurs. Playing with LeBron, who could have moved Bibby off the ball and utilized his deep shooting, who knows what that could have added to Bibby's career and legacy. Halfway through the 07-08 season, the Sacramento Kings, looking to rebuild from the almost good enough past 5 years they had, Bibby was the last the team was looking to trade. He and his friend Kobe got on a call and attempted to make it happen, but the Kings had no interest in assisting its most hated rival Lakers, and the trade fell through once again, leaving Bibby to be traded mid-road trip to the Atlanta Hawks. The Lakers went to the finals that year and lost with Derek Fisher at point. Mike Bibby there, whether starting or off the bench, would have been helpful to his career. The following year, the Lakers won the championship. By then, Mike Bibby was in Atlanta, enjoying the final year of his prime at just 30 years old, as his team made it to the semifinals out east but got swept by the Cavaliers. It was the furthest his team made it in Atlanta under Mike Bibby at point. 2010-11, he finally gets to play with LeBron and went to the finals where they lost to Dallas, Bibby now far past his prime. And a year too early, as the Heat won the chip the following year. Bibby was not re-signed prior to. Stunt number 3, just enough. And lastly, Mike Bibby, although a very solid point guard, he just didn't do any one particular thing stand out enough to handle all he was facing in the prime of his career to finally make an all-star team to boost his legacy. Yes, he was a great shooter, but even then, three-point shooting hadn't become as popular as it is today and wasn't enough by itself to give Bibby the nod. Even his personality was always easy to pass over, as he rarely missed a game, never had to be disciplined for something he said or run-ins with coaches, referees, or teammates. He just showed up to work and got the job done. Granted, had he played on more competitive teams and got to really showcase himself, he could have easily been an all-star, especially since his play in the playoffs were usually much better than his regular season numbers that were just good enough. Bibby didn't need to try and embarrass you off the dribble or pound the ball 100 times into a step back. He just ran the team and did just enough. All in all, Mike Bibby was still a standout point guard of his era, just won't be remembered for being of the elite of that era that became all-stars. Better teams and playing with better talent could have helped that, but he'll have to settle for always being right there, just outside the party. Great talent, really good career, but for these reasons, his growth was stunted. Salute, much respect to Mike Bibby. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.